A first-of-its-kind legislation is now before lawmakers in St. Paul. It would limit screen time for Minnesota's youngest kids. Now, there are two parts to this bill. One part would restrict all personal devices in publicly funded preschools and kindergartens. Another part would start a public service announcement campaign on the negative effects of screen time. Adrian digs into this one.
The largest parenting issue of our generation.
Screen time is up for debate at the state capitol.
All the data does point to screen time being harmful.
Does the technology help or hurt?
They're basically on some kind of a screen almost 100% of their waking hours. And that's a trend that we're trying to change.
While I certainly agree 100% that we should limit screen time, and I know that we do that with my nieces and nephews, and generally when we do allow them screen time, it is actually usually working on educational programs with the child, things that help them learn their letters and words.
But this new bill would change how preschoolers and kids in kindergarten use tablets, smartphones, or other digital media without the help of a teacher.
It's a very broad bill with very few words, and there's a lot of different exceptions that we probably should be considering.
These days, I think it's kind of embedded in their education and everyday life.
Luna Kimmel has two daughters.
My youngest child is 6.5 years old. She is a kindergartner. I try not to focus so much on limiting the time itself. And I think that's kind of buzzwords. How much time is the enough screen time for a 6-year-old or for a 7-year-old.
The proposed bill is consistent with the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendations, which say no screen time before 18 months and recommends a maximum of 1 hour per day for 2 to 5-year-olds with adult involvement.
Not counting the educational time that she spends on iPad or tablet in school, I want to say it varies, but during weekdays, it probably fluctuates between 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day. On weekends, I'm not gonna lie, it could get a little longer. If we're on a very rare occasion of international flight, they can have as much screen time as they want to. In terms of limiting time in school, I think that's a bigger question. And I look at screen time as kind of same thing as giving them a time to ride a scooter. And just like, teaching kids riding a bike, I mean, we would teach them how to wear a helmet, how to watch out for the cars. Kind of same thing. I try to educate them on how to use screen time and what kind of things that they should or shouldn't watch, rather than limiting the time and focusing on that.
So many different opinions, and we saw that this morning during that hearing. Now, the bill that is on the floor was amended because so many concerns were addressed today. They're going to revisit this issue. But here's something I want to leave you with. We've been talking a lot about St. Paul Public Schools. In that district alone, every preschooler is assigned their own iPad.
Wow. And this is totally an issue where every family makes their own decisions, absolutely. Yeah. But even when some families do, kids are around other kids. So if your family does something different than my family, your kid's going to be like, wait. So they're going to learn to use it.
Exactly. Let's say you have 2 kids in preschool. My best friend has his own phone, Mommy. Why can't I have mine?
Right.
I get to use that phone when I go over there. But then you have to set up boundaries in your own home. What works for you and your child?
I really liked what she said about what they're consuming on that media, because my youngest niece, who is absolutely super digital savvy at the age of 8.
Calls you on FaceTime all the time.
The FaceTime's great. The other parts I don't like. The things she watches is what troubles me, and it's not being used just as a learning tool, but she learned how to use the tool in school.
Right. We talked about this. It can help or it can hurt. Right. I know a 5-year-old who uses her cell phone to count numbers. That same 5-year-old also taught me how to use the TikTok app.
Adrian was taught to use TikTok from a 5-year-old.
I was. It's true.
It's the most Minnesota thing I've heard today, so we won't even have to do that segment when we come back. Will you teach me how to use it?
I will.
Okay, great.
We'll flip the switch.